I thought I was ready for Alaska. I had the itinerary mapped out, the excursions booked, and the gear packed. But once we got there, I realized how many assumptions I had made that, well, did not hold up. You see, Alaska has a way of humbling you fast. And if I hadn't adjusted quickly, the trip could have gone very differently. These weren't beginner mistakes. They were the kind of things you only learn by doing it wrong the first time. So before you cruise Alaska, let me show you what nearly ruined mine. Alaska is one of the most unforgettable cruise destinations in the world, but it also comes with more variables, more surprises, and a lot more ways for things to go sideways. If you're planning a cruise up north, this video is going to give you a huge head start by showing you the kinds of things that don't show up in brochures or on packing lists because I've lived through them. And you'll walk away knowing exactly what to expect, what to avoid, and what most people don't realize until it's too late. And there's one mistake near the end that nearly derailed our entire itinerary, and we weren't the only ones caught off guard either. Oh, and if we haven't met yet, I'm Evan from Family at Sea. If this is your first time watching my channel, I'm glad you're here. And if you've been here a while, you already know how much I appreciate you. If you're ready, I am. Let's go. It's easy to get sucked in by all the bells and whistles. We saw the big name, the flashy amenities, and the headline shows and thought, well, the Norwegian Encore will be perfect. But Alaska isn't a ship-first destination. It's an itinerary-first experience. And on the Encore, we didn't dock close to town in Juneau or Ketchikan, so we lost time on shuttles. And in both Ketchikan and Victoria, we had less than 3 hours to explore each port once you factored in all aboard time and the time it took to get to town. That's barely enough for one solid excursion, let alone time to wander, shop, or just enjoy this setting. And if I could go back, I wouldn't have chosen the cruise for the ship. I'd let the itinerary lead the decision and treat the ship as the supporting act instead of the headliner. A lot of Alaska cruises look like a steal in May or September, but those shoulder season prices also come with, well, shoulder season weather, and that can change everything. I almost booked one of those cheaper sailings before realizing just how much the weather impacts the overall experience. Excursions get canceled, glacier views disappear behind fog, and ports feel less alive when it's pouring rain and 45 degrees. And after looking at the trade-offs and really thinking about it, I changed our sailing to mid-July. Yeah, it cost more, but we had better odds of getting the full Alaska experience when it was at its best. And for a place like Alaska, I don't think it's worth rolling the dice just to save a few $100. So if this is your once-in-a-lifetime trip, book for the experience, not just the price. Flying in the day before your cruise might work in the Caribbean, where there are dozens of flights and you're usually in the same time zone. But Alaska is different. With fewer flights, longer routes, and bigger time zone shifts, that means less room for error and a higher chance of delays derailing your entire trip. On our first Alaska cruise, a major airline IT outage caused over 100 people to miss the first 2 days of the trip entirely. We made it, but barely, and even then we were wiped out from the travel. If I were doing it again, I'd fly in 2 days early. That extra day gives you time to recover, adjust, and absorb any disruptions without stress. You didn't book an Alaska cruise to start your trip at the pier watching the ship leave without you. So give yourself the margin. You'll thank yourself later. Cruise ships are designed with warm weather in mind, with wide open pool decks, loungers, and outdoor bars all meant to spread people out. But on an Alaska cruise, most of those spaces are either closed or empty once the cold and rain sets in. And when that happens, the entire population of the ship squeezes into the same handful of indoor venues. And on our first Alaska cruise on the Encore, there were moments where it felt like every seat in every lounge, restaurant, and atrium was already taken. If you're used to warm weather cruises where the ship feels spacious, Alaska can be a shock. Now, that doesn't mean the cruise is ruined, but it does mean you'll want to adjust your expectations, get places early to grab seats, and choose a ship with indoor spaces designed for actual lounging, not just passing through. And speaking of limited space, here's something you might not realize. Your personal information is taking up space online that you didn't even agree to. And worse, it's being sold. There are hundreds of data brokers out there quietly collecting and reselling your personal data. Your name, phone number, address, browsing habits, even information about your relatives, all packaged up and sold to advertisers, scammers, and who knows who else. Now, technically, you can request to have your information removed, but it's intentionally complicated and would take you hundreds of hours to do manually. And that's where this video sponsor, Incogni, comes in. It's an automated service that contacts data brokers on your behalf, legally demands they delete your information, and follows up to make sure it actually happens. You can even send them custom links to anywhere your data shows up, and they'll take care of it. It's simple to use, they update you on their progress, and best of all, it runs in the background while you get back to living your life. Hopefully somewhere less crowded than a mid-deck lounge in Alaska. So if you want to clean up your online footprint and protect your privacy, click the link in the description below and use the code FAMILY@SEA to get 60% off. Alaska cruising rewards people who are willing to be a little uncomfortable. Prime indoor viewing spots like the observation lounge fill up early, and I don't mean at breakfast time early. I'm talking about hours before the sun comes up early. On our sailing on the Encore, if you wanted a window seat in the observation lounge on Glacier Bay Day, if you weren't there to stake your claim by 4:30 a.m., you were too late. And a number of people slept there overnight to get the best spots. And well, I don't know about you guys, but I didn't pay thousands of dollars to feel like I'm camping out for concert tickets on vacation. Still, most cruisers do everything they can to stay indoors and miss much of what's out there because of it. And to be honest, I almost did as well, because many of the best spots are right there in front of you. They just require a warm blanket on a balcony or perhaps a swimsuit and a dip in a hot tub overlooking the glaciers. You don't need to be reckless about it, you just got to be ready, because the moments you'll most likely remember in Alaska rarely happen from a temperature controlled room. Most people don't associate Alaska cruises with rough seas until they're halfway through the Gulf of Alaska, wondering why the floor won't stop moving. Even if you've sailed the Caribbean with no issues, Alaska is a very different story. With colder temperatures and open waters, the sudden shifts in weather can turn a calm day into a queasy one fast. On our first sailing, we saw more than a few people skipping meals and heading back to their cabins early, and well, if I'm honest, we nearly joined them. The good news, it's avoidable if you come prepared. So pack motion sickness patches, Dramamine, ginger chews, or better yet, get an Emiturm relief band. But definitely don't wait until you feel sick to look for a solution, because by the time the ocean decides to fight back, it's already too late to gear up. This isn't a warning, it's a favor your stomach will thank you for. Alaska is unpredictable, and if you're only planning for perfect weather, you're setting yourself up to be disappointed. On our first Alaska cruise, we booked what should have been 2 incredible days. The first was a helicopter ride to go dog sledding on a glacier in Juneau that was canceled due to rain, and the next day we rented a car to drive up the South Klondike Lake Highway in Skagway, but that was cut short by a mudslide that shut down the road halfway. And just like that, 2 of our biggest days turned into a scramble for Plan B, except we didn't have one. And in Alaska, that's not rare, it's normal. The scenery is world class, but so are the weather swings, road closures, and fogged in ports. And if you don't build flexibility into your plans, you'll miss out on what could have still been an amazing day. So hope for the dream vacation, but plan like it might not happen. Alaska doesn't wait for you to grab your camera. You'll be mid-conversation when someone yells, "Whale!" And by the time you turn around, it's already gone. A great example of that was on our port day in Juneau the first time we were there. Is we were walking through the middle of town, and keep in mind, this is not out in the wilderness. It was just between two shops. Mackenzie, my wife, happened to look to the side and up the stairs and said, "Evan, there's a bear over there." And sure enough, I stopped and I had my camera ready to go and I got the shot, but others around us who weren't ready didn't. And moments like those only last a few seconds. And if your camera isn't instantly available, it's over. So a quick tip for you guys, on most Android phones, double tapping the power button opens the camera, and on iPhones, you can swipe left from the lock screen or map it to the action button, but definitely know how to get to your camera and get it open fast. And don't forget to wipe the lens, because the ocean mist and pocket grime can ruin what would have been your best photo. Because in Alaska, the best stories are the ones you catch, and the ones you miss, well, you don't forget those either. Alaska isn't the kind of trip where everything goes according to plan, and expecting everything to be perfect is, well, a great way to end up disappointed. Because here's the reality. There's probably going to be fog in Glacier Bay for at least part of the day, and, well, it's probably going to rain on at least one port day. But the people who enjoy Alaska the most aren't the ones with the best weather. They're the ones who know how to shift gears when things don't go right. We had missed excursions, blocked roads, and views that vanished into the mist. But we also had unforgettable moments we never planned for. A bear in Juneau and a surprise break in the clouds at the perfect time, reminding us the magic is still there. It's just not always where you thought it'd be. So when you notice disappointment or frustrating starting to creep in, take a deep breath and mentally reset yourself. Because look, Alaska rewards people who don't need the weather to be perfect to have a perfect time. Packing for Alaska isn't about bringing more things. It's about bringing the right things. And the first time I went, I didn't. I was cold when I wanted to be outside, and I was wet when I should have been warm. And every time I missed a moment, I kept thinking the same thing. I didn't pack for this. Now, here's the bad news. Even if you've cruised before, Alaska will challenge everything you think you need. But the good news, I made an entire video that walks you through exactly what to pack and what you'll wish you had when you're standing in front of a glacier with frozen fingers. So don't stop here, watch that one next, where I show you everything you need for your Alaska cruise, from layers to gear to the one item no one told us about. It's all there. So if you want to get this part right, that video is waiting. I'll see you over there. If you're ready, I am. Let's go.